Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video today would be kind of a confirmation about the latest updates of Escort, the radar detectors with Escort, which the one I have on the left is the 360, the Redline 360C, and a kind of a comparison between the Redline 360C and the Uniden R8W, which is their latest radar detector. And you would maybe ask me, hey, why do you have two radar detectors? Well, I'll give you kind of the long story to a little bit shorter story, but I've always owned the Escort line pretty much for maybe 10-15 years now. And what happened is in the last, I would say maybe 5-6 years right before the pandemic, the Redline, I think I had the Mark II, the 360C Mark II, I believe, and then I switched to this Redline 360C, and I did not have the issues that I with the Mark II that I started having with this Redline. And what it was is I even replaced the detector, I believe, maybe 3 times, and they all had the same issue. And what it was, I used to get these very strange KA ghost alerts, and I probably had K ghost alerts, but I wouldn't be able to tell you right now. But I do remember that I kept on having KA ghosts, and upon following this guy called Vortex, he's got a website, and he's pretty much, I think, probably the only source online about detectors, laser jammers, this and that you can follow to kind of learn new stuff and keep updated. But they had an enormous amount of complaints about these KA and K from Escort, and I mean, it took a while for Escort pretty much to even do any kind of updates. I would say probably 4 or 5 years, which, I mean, we can all relate to the actual pandemic, and you can understand that there were not, I guess, enough employees, or the employees are probably laid off. What happened now, I'm not sure, but I started getting kind of pissed about it because I rely on that detector, and I have another old laser jammer system with a detector from Escort that's actually, I've ended up relying on that one, and that system I installed about 15 years ago, and I swapped it in in my other cars that I drove, and that system had been more reliable, at least, or has been more reliable than the Redline that I had. And finally now, last week, so today is 11th of August 2025, and last week Escort released a new update for most of these, the expensive line detectors, or the top end line of Escort detectors. I believe the number of the update was 1.17, and I can tell you now that driving for about a week, there has been an enormous change of how this detector now behaves. The one thing that I love about Escort is they're pretty much automatic. Yes, you have a lot of options to go when you go to advanced mode and to set up the different KA bands, which I set up at 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 5, and 6 for United States, to kind of limit the or to get the detector to react faster is, and I'm following all these advisories from, this guy Vortex and pretty much the forums online. So, with this latest update, that, my Redline has shown an enormous improvement. I don't have any more KA ghosts, no K ghosts, and it's almost like it's become twice as smart as what it was before this update. And then you would ask me, what's going on with the R8 unit? And well, I ended up buying it because I was getting fed up with Escort, and I can't, like, if we have to compare these two, I cannot tell you at this point. The R8W and the R8, I think they're pretty much the same, are probably one of the best ones compared to the Redline. They're pretty much comparable. And if you ask me which one is better, I wouldn't be able to tell you at this point, because they're kind of different. So Escort, with this update, has managed to, I believe, go to number one place as far as detectors on the market again, where I believe, Vortex and a lot of other people were putting the Uniden first because of these problems that Escort was not addressing for many years. And now I believe Escort is again on the top place, because it's pretty much it's gotten its mojo back, if you want to call it that. And now everything is, back to normal, automatic, this and that. And it's actually, I believe it has gotten smarter. And Vortex showed a bunch of tests that they did and what they did with these new updates. Now, the situation with the R8 is this. I think they have an automatic option when you set up this detector, but the automatic option is not a good option, I believe, because it kind of limits a lot of things, and it won't give you the strength of reaction that we're supposed to have when we have these detectors. So the R8, when it's set up, it becomes, when you have to set it up, yourself, it becomes very, very technical. And even it took me about maybe 30 minutes to even try to set it up, and I kind of know what I'm doing. And with the R8, it had way over too many options. Actually, it still has, and some of the options I didn't touch because like alerts on certain things, on certain frequencies, you can change the alerts, you can change the timing of alerts, meaning which speeds. In that case, you can limit the fake alerts in the cities. So when you drive above 35 miles an hour, then you get a proper alert if the radar thinks this is a cop. Because if you see right now, I'm getting some kind of a K alert. I'm doing 65. That's the R8 on the side. Okay, now just the Escort kicked in now. Well, the R8 kind of reacts sometimes by maybe 1 second. I don't know what that K was. Both of them reacted, but I don't think it was important enough. And I'm on the highway passing over cities, so I think this was outside of this highway. And I don't believe that was a police unit or whatever. But the timing of reaction of these, and I'll add up some more video. The timing of reaction now of these both of these detectors is pretty much almost the same, and probably 6-7 times out of 10 the Escort reacts faster now, and it's gotten smarter. That actually kind of realizes that there is an actual threat, so it doesn't spill these fake signals that, okay, there's a K, okay, is that a cop, okay, is it not a cop? No, it will react. And I've gotten to see this now reacting again, like I said, pretty much at the same time as the R8W, or even a little bit faster. And going back to the R8, it's a very interesting detector. I kind of don't like the design of it a little bit. It has a bigger screen, very interesting screen, you can see, and definitely they spent a little bit more on the development of this detector. But if you see underneath, it has a completely different shape, with the screen put on sideways to the left. That thing kind of put me off at the beginning, because that means that you need to install this detector always in the middle, like right here. But in my case I have a tablet right here, because I'm not using my rear view mirror, and then I have a camera right where the detector is supposed to be. So maybe I could have installed it right here, but I didn't want to put it so close to my tablet, because I need to follow my tablet in detail, follow directions on Google Maps. So that's, you guys need to set up in your mind that it's a left turn screen, left-sided screen. So you're gonna need to install this detector in the middle of the windshield in order to be kind of, I would say, properly installed. As far as the alerts, they're pretty good. I don't think I can say anything negative about Uniden and this particular detector. It seems like when they did this detector, they put up a lot of efforts in technology. At this point, I believe I'm gonna keep both of them. I've gotten used to having at least two detectors as a confirmation. If one doesn't react, that the other one reacts. And interestingly, the Escort, I'll tell you one negative about one negative thing about the Escort. I have not gotten laser alerts when I've been shot with the laser, for speed reading. And where the Uniden, I got shot one time. It was when I started using it, right, literally the next day. And it was very interesting, because it actually it gave me an alert. Of course, you need to have a laser jammer in order to avoid getting a speeding ticket if you're speeding, and because these detectors will not save you from a laser reading. So you do need to get a laser jammer. You can read up on this stuff online, or you can read up on Vortex. I need to install one on this vehicle soon, because I've always driven with these jammers and detectors for full protection. But the Uniden kind of very interestingly reacted fast. It showed me that I'm being shot with a laser, and then it actually gave the name of the laser gun that I was being shot with. So that was very, very interesting. I hadn't seen this before. So that's one thing they actually mentioned when I was kind of reading the reviews of this detector, this and that. So I would definitely recommend the Uniden. The only thing to keep in mind is that when you set up this detector, it's not going to be an easy setup. It's going to be very complicated, and if you're not up to spending time, you don't understand frequencies, you don't understand the options, it's not very user friendly the way they set up the unit. And I have not done the automatic options, so I'm not sure how well they work. And due to the advisory of Vortex again and online forums, you're supposed to do this in the proper way by going to the advanced mode and changing the options on your own. But you would still need to understand what you're doing, because otherwise you will get screwed up, because you will adjust something in the wrong way and you're not going to get the proper alerts. And the situation is that Uniden kind of, where Uniden messed up is the city, where you have all these K and X alerts. I've shut down X alert completely, because you only have, you see right here, I'm getting a K alert, and because of this option here, quiet right, you see the detector automatically shut it off. So I've put up some options for the city where the detector, especially right now, I'm actually sitting. So the quiet right option kicked in, telling the detector that it needs to stop alerting because I'm not actually moving. So it's kind of a very smart detector as far as what it can do, but it's not automatic enough to actually put it right there, slap it, and kind of start driving. You would have to do a lot more compared to the Redline. With the Redline, it is more kind of an automatic, because I guess they have a better learning process, I'm assuming. And I do have some options set up in the Redline, but they're probably 3 times less options than what the Uniden will show you. And in order to properly adjust the Uniden, actually, you have to do it with your computer. You have to plug it in with your computer, download their program, and then in the options there, you have to go through every single option. Vortex has a video on that. It's about an hour long. Again, like I said, it will take you a while to do that. And again, some of the options are that you see on the menu when you put it on the computer, you would not be able to understand what they are, because there's not sometimes you see an explanation of what it's supposed to be, but sometimes you don't, and I couldn't understand some of it because there were so many options. And the one thing, like right now, that I need to go back and adjust, I don't think I can do it through the app. I need to try. They have a new app that I downloaded, but I haven't done anything with that yet. But there's like an alert that if I go through a school speed camera above that speed limit of the camera, let's say it's 25 or 35, this thing, instead of alerting me once, it keeps on alerting until I pass the camera, which kind of starts bugging me while I'm driving, because I'm doing something else. And if I'm talking to someone, then it becomes very annoying, where the Redline will just tell me, okay, there's a speed camera, and then I know that I need to slow down. So that's an option that I did not turn off because I didn't know what it was. So I just need to go readjust that option. So again, like I said, if you ask me, which detector is better, what's going on with these two, I would say they're pretty much at this point kind of the same. I don't think I'm used to the Redline anyway, so I'm kind of used to it, how it alerts, when it alerts, and now, like I said again, I feel an enormous difference. It has become smarter. I would say, if you ask me about how I set up the Redline, I can actually show you. It's not that difficult. The Redline is very easy to set up, even with their phone app. So you don't actually you cannot set it up with their app or their program on the computer, because you can only update it there. Yeah, so you have to set it up with your phone, and you can do it with the screen menu, but it's a little bit more difficult. And as far as the R8, you have to use a computer. That thing is just, it has so much information. I mean, I can't begin even or end, or I can't even begin to tell you. It's just a lot of options. So I would say the R8 is it's just more complicated. I would not advise getting the R8 if you're not familiar with detectors. If you're not familiar with frequencies of the police guns, what they use, when they use, this and that, and of course you need to drive smart, meaning that this is not a complete cover. For you to speed, I never advise any kind of speeding or anything similar. So this is just for your protection, to know what's going on around you, in front of you, in the back of you, or on the sides. So that tool helps you, but it's up to you how you drive. So you need to drive smart, and sometimes your eye vision will be actually the best detector, because you'll be able to see a cop maybe from 2 miles away if it's on a straight line, where the detector may not even react at that time, or behind turns, this and that. Even though the Redline has been very good as far as cops, sitting on, like, around turns, like in side streets, this and that. So I'm gonna keep driving with both of them. I got them. They're set up. I may try to see if I can change a few options on the R8, because, like I said again, it's very complicated. But at least the Redline is, like, it's back on its full power. I would say it's probably number one right now in the market, and I mean, I can't tell you. I cannot express how good the Redline is at this point. And I believe Vortex released a video on this, like about a week ago maybe. And then I ended up by an accident just finding the video, because it popped up on my YouTube, on my phone. And then I ended up updating the detector, and of course now I've been following it for a week, monitoring. And like I said again, you need to, if you have, I believe, several of those top end detectors, that's what that's update is. I'm not sure how many other detectors it covers, but I think it was 1.17, and you definitely must do it, because it will change your detector. It'll bring it back to life, and it'll give you the satisfaction that you need, because you paid so much money, because both of these are very expensive detectors, and at least you want to get what you paid for. So again, Redline would be number one at this point with that latest update. I will keep checking and keep posting more videos, probably when I get alerts. I think I've had several videos so far about some of the alerts. I'll put them in this video, but I will definitely keep you posted. And definitely go ahead and update your radar detector no matter what. A lot of people buy these and they don't even know that they need to be updated. So in order for you to be current, with current issues, with current problems, in order for them to be fixed, you have to keep updating these technologies, because they're, I mean, you can't have a radar detector that's 5 years old and the update is from 5 years. Obviously that doesn't make any sense. So again, go ahead and update your Uniden. Of course, they had an update when I plugged it in, and again, I'll keep you posted. And at that point, you ask me, hey, what's going on with these? Redline, more automatic, better kind of way. The Uniden is a little bit kind of a weird detector for me, because of all these different options and the way it's set up. And I would not advise a a unexperienced person to buy the Uniden, because you will end up mixing a lot of these signals, thinking that it's a cop, but it's actually a door of a store. They have these little sensors, the radar sensors. They're on the doors when they open when you enter a store. That's what those are, and they have K alerts. But the Uniden has I guess the Uniden has maybe a capability to amplify the signal or catch it longer distance, but at the same time it confuses the signal, because it's a stationary signal, so it may confuse it with a police unit, but meanwhile it's not. And it gives you the alert and you're thinking, oh, that's a cop, so let me smack on the brakes, which it was that wasn't the story in the first place. So kind of a much more complicated story with Uniden. If you have any questions or the way how these work, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'll try to post some videos, answer your questions, and please subscribe to my channel, because your support keeps me and helps me, keeps this running, keeps this channel, it helps me to run this channel so I can keep it running, and upload more videos so I can help you guys with my experiences. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.